The Sacramento Kings get their first victory of the season, and Russell Westbrook lights the first beam. We're going to talk about the game against the Utah Jazz, what's going to happen on Sunday versus the Lakers, and more on this episode of the Bleav In Kings podcast. I'm your host, Mark Haynes. Let's go. Sacramento 105-104 over the Utah Jazz. And some may say, and I asked Zach LaVine the same question. And I was like, some may say the Utah Jazz are a bad team. The Sacramento Kings should have won this game. And I disagree with him to some degree, but I understand what he means. But he's like, that's a good team. But regardless, it's a team in the NBA. It's a team that can win on any given night. A team that just scored, I Bleav they said 130 against I forget who their last opponent was, but they scored 130 points. It's a team, they have some players. They have, a young Ace Bailey who didn't get on the scoreboard against the Kings tonight. He only played, I Bleav he played 13 minutes or so. I'm trying to look at the final card real quick, but I Bleav he played 13 minutes. Well, I know it's something like that. He didn't score. I know that was the case. But however, the Sacramento Kings squeezed out a victory. And I think it was, here we go. 13 minutes, 28 seconds. He was a minus 16, 0 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. And that's for Ace Bailey, the number 5 pick. I think there's a lot to unpack in that. But we're not here to talk about the Utah Jazz. We're here to talk about the Sacramento Kings getting on the board, starting the season off 1-1. But yeah, anyway, Zach was like, it was these close games, this was a hard fought victory. These are important. These are how you build, chemistry. This is how you build, camaraderie and the flow of the season. When you lose close games early on, it's just my opinion. I have no statistic that backs this up. But I feel like when you lose them early on, you'll lose them in the end too. Throughout the season, you'll continue to lose close games. And getting a dub in these close games like tonight, I think it just puts you on sets you up for success. It gets you going in the right direction. They should have. I Bleav everybody believed that the Kings should have won the first game of the season. I think the Kings could very easily be 2-0 right now. Easily, they should have beat the Phoenix Suns, and they did figure out a way to beat the Jazz. Now on Sunday, they got the Lakers, and there will be no LeBron James. However, Luka Doncic has been scoring enough to equal out what him and LeBron side by side may average. So that's going to be another story. That's going to be another, we're going to have to break that down a little more later on in this episode. But tonight, like I said, the beam was lit. I'm actually recording from my car, looking at the beam as we speak. So I'm inspired by the beam, I guess. And Russell Westbrook got to light the beam for the first time for any Kings player this season. He finished tonight 3 of 5 from the field with 7 points, 4 assists, and a steal and 2 turnovers. But the one thing that stood out to me about Westbrook tonight, he was aggressive. He was aggressive as always. He was himself. But in the fourth quarter, he closed. He was a part of that closing group, and he had the responsibility, the coverage of Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen was 12 of 23 for the night from the field, had 33 points. He was doing his thing. And Coach Doug Christie decided we're going to close with Russ essentially playing the power forward. And when I asked Doug about it, I would, if I was on my computer, I would play all the clip, but I'm paraphrased. But Doug, when I asked him about his process in having Russell Westbrook guard Lauri Markkanen, he basically said he's a veteran. He's physical. He knows how to play with aggression. He went basically to those 6 pillars that the Kings have been preaching, that Scott Perry has been preaching about all summer. And this was one of those moments where it shows. 6'3" Russell Westbrook, all in the grill of Lauri Markkanen, giving him hell. Like, there's no end of the day, there's no stopping him when you're 6'3" and he's 7 foot and talented as he is. Like, no, there's no stopping him. But he made it difficult. He made him, he had to use a bunch of screens to kind of get space, to get the ball or whatever in the post to get it, to get an advantage. And Russ battled the entire time. And I think that, the couple of stops that he was able to get, the couple of, you know, times he didn't allow Markkanen to get the ball, I think that's ultimately why the Kings won this game. Now, I don't have any stats or analytics to back that up, but just on the eye test, that's what I saw. I saw a guy playing with heart. I saw a guy competing. Saw a guy being physical, all while being the smaller player in the fourth quarter. And I think that can, over time, trickle through, the whole roster. Domantas Sabonis got an offensive rebound at the end. Obviously, I'm sure everybody's looking at that by now. But he got an offensive rebound that was big time. It was, if he wasn't on the floor, who knows if the Kings would have came up with that ball. But he got the offensive rebound and a putback, which ended up being the game-winning basket. And then it was still time on the clock. I Bleav it was like 5.6, 5 or 6 seconds, one of them. Or, just being funny here, 6, 7 seconds. I've been wanting to say 6, 7 all week, but I definitely delivered it wrong right now. And my son would not be proud of me, but who cares? It was 6, 7 seconds on the clock. And Dennis Schroeder, who had a tremendous game, got the final stop. Forced the air ball. Kings win. The first light the beam chant of the year begins. And that's where we at. A good, solid team win with contributions from starters, from the bench, like everybody. Like Doug was like, I could go down the list and talk about all the guys who contributed to this win. DeMar DeRozan had I wouldn't say an off night, but excuse me, not a DeMar DeRozan night. He was 3 of 9, 36 minutes. I personally, it felt like he didn't play 36 minutes. That was kind of surprising, but 7 points, 6 assists, 2 steals. He figured out other ways to impact the game. Isaac Jones started the game, but he played 14 minutes. Domantas Sabonis had 12 points and 12 boards. Obviously, that one big offensive rebound being the biggest board of the game. Zach LaVine continues to dominate offensively. Zach LaVine, hold on. First off, Zach LaVine, we talking about his offense because he's, basically putting up 30 a night. And I'm not, obviously it's only been 2 games this season, but I'm just looking at how he performed during the preseason as well. He would have put up 30 each night. But the one thing that I'm noticing about Zach that I didn't really see last season is his defense. Like, is he gonna make all defensive team? No. But Zach to me, it looks like he's buying in, looks like he bought in, and he's, sitting down on defense and really defending. I believe from the eye, I'm gonna look at the stat after I say this, but I believe he got a block on marketing, guarding him in the post. And let's see what his final stat line was. Yep, he had 1 block shot. So I know that was the Laurie marketing block. Um, he defended well, with players off the dribble. Like he's been solid. That's what he's been. He's been solid on defense, and he's been amazing on offense. Now, will that last the entire season? We have to see. I mean, Kings fans, they have to hope for that. Because I'll say this. If that is the case, if Zach LaVine, the Zach LaVine we've seen, from preseason to now, if that's the guy you have all season, I think the Sacramento Kings are going to be in a good place. I think they're going to be in a decent place. Now, does that mean they're going to be a top 6 team and make it to the playoffs? No, but it could, it could. Because I think the one thing Sacramento is missing is the number one guy. And I think in order to be a number one guy, when you plan on a team with, like DeMar DeRozan or whatever, who can put up monster offensive numbers as well. I think what makes you the number one guy on a winning team is when you say, I'm gonna be the best offensive player and I'm gonna be one of the best defensive players on this team. I'm gonna give you effort on both sides of the court. I think that's what makes you a number one. If that's what we're seeing from Zach LaVine, I like where things are headed. I'm not sure if I'm sold on it. I'm not saying that's what I see, or that's what's happening right now. But I'm saying it dang sure looks like it. Moving on, Dennis Schroeder, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, doing all the things that we expected from him, especially coming off of his his play in the Euro League, the Euro Basket League. winning MVP. Like, if you can get this Dennis Schroeder on most nights, I think Sacramento becomes a problem. Malik Monk, 20 minutes in this game off the bench, was 7 for 14. 6 of 9 of those were threes. 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Yeah, 2 blocks. Was a plus 10 on the plus minus. Finished the game with 20 points. Malik Monk, man, he is. Doug was like, now that we have, other point guards on the roster, like Malik doesn't have to bring the ball up. Malik doesn't have to um, set up set up things as much as he did last season, basically playing the point guard role. Malik is at his best when he can just play the game how he wants to play it. And the one thing that was missing last year for the Kings was having a guy who could come in the game and just go to work automatically. No real play calls, no nothing. Just get out the way and go get a bucket or make something happen. With Malik Monk being off ball, not being a point guard, not concerned about turnovers, not concerned about making plays for other. When he's just out there playing his game, he is one of the best bench players in the NBA. That's why he's always in the running since he's been in Sacramento. He's been in the running for sixth man of the year. And after 2 games, he's showing he's going to be up there again this year. He will be back. This might be the year. I actually thought he should have won one, but this might be the season because he's back in the role of just being Malik Monk. And this is a team that's still without their best defender, Keegan Murray, who's coming back in not a few weeks, but it's like 3 or 4 weeks from now, whatever, they'll reevaluate him, things like that. But nah, I think if this team competes at a high level, I think this team will win games. I think they'll be pretty good. Like I said, I think this team has the ability to be similar to the first beam team. And like I keep saying, that first beam team didn't have nobody had high expectations for them. Nobody thought that team was gonna be good. But next thing you look up and it's December and they above, 500 by 6, 7 games. I can see that from this team. The one thing, and I'll say this before I move on, because I want to talk about some other things in the NBA. One thing in particular. But the one thing when I look at this game and this win, 105-104 over the Jazz, I see a lot of room for improvement. I see no Keegan Murray out there. I see no Neat Clifford out there. I see DeMar DeRozan going 3 of 9 from the field. I think the Sacramento Kings can play a lot better than they did tonight. And I think we're going to see that, man. I think we're going to get that. And I think this is going to be a fun season. I think it's going to be some wild up and down moments. But I think overall, this year is going to be fun. And speaking of fun, and I don't know, let's see if I could find it, but I don't know what the outcome of the game was as far as the team. But what I do know is I seen Victor Wembanyama. Did I say it right? Because I always struggle. Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, I got it right. 29 points, 11 rebounds, 9 blocks, no turnovers on 12 of 23 shooting. They got the victory over the Pelicans, 120-116 in overtime. But Wemby is, man, what? 29, 11, and 9? Almost a triple-double off block. Then what's funny, 9 blocks. First play of the game, he get dunked on by Zion, who Zion finished the game with 27 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Trey Murphy played 46 minutes. Sheesh. 46 minutes, 24 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. But what Victor Wembanyama is right now, the Spurs are 2-0. No De'Aaron Fox yet. But he's a video game. He is a creative player. Like we talked about LeBron when he came out in, at 6'8", 240 and could run like a gazelle, could jump I was gonna say a cat, because cats jump high, but I couldn't think of a good example, but can jump like a kangaroo. I said kangaroo. I think that's bad, but because I don't think kangaroos go up when they jump. I think it's more of, a gliding thing. But cats, frogs, I heard like rats and stuff are like the most athletic thing in the world. So like, but when LeBron was doing that, we was like, LeBron James is a creative player. Now, I've recently over the last year, so since 25, but October, so it's 24, I got back in the NBA 2K. And I'm solid. I'm solid. My guy, I built a regular dude, he's 6'7", 6'7", I think 205 or something like that. Regular NBA player, but then when I'm serious about it too. So I was like, man, I told my son I'm not gonna play online until I'm like, nah, I'm legit, because I'm legit. Like that's how competitive I am too. But my guy, he's in his rookie year, one rookie a year, of course. Of course. I'm in the finals, of course, with the Pelicans. But at 6'7", I'm a regular guy, you know. But at they had a free internet day, right? And I'm cheap. Yeah, I don't buy the yearly package where I could play online. I will, but I didn't. But anyways, in that weekend pass that I got, I was solid. Every game I played in with my 6'7" build dude, 205, like I was getting buckets, I was getting stops, I was getting this, I was doing my thing. But everybody I was playing against, they dude is 7'3" and could sprint and shoot and do dribble, do all this stuff. He's 7'5". So I'm like undersized. I was like a point guard at 6'7". But I say all that to say, like, Victor Wembanyama is that. Victor Wembanyama is that fake player that people used to make, now that everybody makes, that you be like, yeah, you could have it on a game, but it's not, like, that's not real life. Victor Wembanyama is that. 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 blocks in 32 minutes. He played the fewest minutes out of all starters on his team. So in the fewest minutes, he is always going to be the best player on his team. Probably, I ain't gonna say it yet, but he's definitely on his way in his young career. He's on his way to being the best player in the world. If he can stay healthy, he will be that without question. Because he's 7'4", 7'5", whatever they say he is. He's handling the rock. He's shooting the three. He's the best defensive player. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. Like, this one game alone sets him so far ahead of people. Rudy Gobert is not going to have a game similar to this. Victor Wembanyama, man, that dude, this ain't even special. This is the definition of different. This is going to be unfair. If he stays healthy, Victor Wembanyama is on his way to being the greatest player to ever play. I'm going to say it right now. It's all on his health. That's it. But I just had to cause I had to talk about that because it was like that was crazy. That was a crazy stat line. And I think he's gonna do it again and again. But y'all know what we here for. This is the Bleav In Kings pod. The Kings stay at home. I'm not sure if it'll be practice tomorrow. Potentially, but I don't know. They might get a break. And then they got the Lakers. Luka Doncic had 49 tonight. And he's in a situation where he can shoot the ball whenever he wants. And not only can he just shoot the ball whenever he wants, he can get whatever shot he wants when he wants to get it. Meanwhile, he's going to keep getting his teammates involved. He's going to keep putting pressure on you in different ways. This will be a really, really good test for the Sacramento Kings. If the Kings can get a victory against the Los Angeles Lakers on Sunday, I think it speaks a lot to who they are. I think this is going to tell a good chunk of how this season is going to go. I think Luka and the Lakers are going to come into town and they're going to force the Kings to compete. And if they compete, if they put up a fight, I think we're going to see what this team is made of and what we can expect throughout the rest of the season. Now, if they'll get better, they'll improve. So it ain't like, oh, don't take what I'm saying and say, oh, one game means the whole season. No, not one game. But I'm just saying the way Luka Doncic is playing, the amount of pride that the Kings have to come in with dealing with this. You don't want to be the next team that he's just dropping 48, 49 on or whatever. Like, nah, you want to come in, you want to slow them down, you want to be respectable. You come into our house to try to stop us from lighting our beam. Nah, it takes pride to stand up to that type of force. And from what I seen tonight, I think the Kings will do it. I think their hearts are getting bigger and bigger by the day. And like I said earlier, I think we might be in for a fun season. But I just wanted to give you guys a episode after the game. You can expect them after every game. Like I said, we go. This ride is gonna be long, and we gonna do it together, and we gonna have fun doing it. I'm gonna make you hate me. I'm gonna make you love me. All that stuff, and you can follow me everywhere at Mark Haynes NBA. Follow our YouTube channel, The Closer Sports, to find this episode in video format, which is going to be just audio, but on this episode. But yeah, and future things that we're doing. Man, shout out to the Kings and Doug Christie on getting the first dub of the season. You know, it's everything is looking and feeling good in Sacramento. Now I got to wake up in the morning, and I think rain is in the forecast. So we'll see how that go. But right now, we kicking it. We partying. The beam is lit for another 3 minutes because I think it cuts off at midnight. So I'm gonna get a 3 minute glance at it. 2 minutes now, and y'all enjoy y'all day, night. I don't know when y'all gonna watch this, but whenever y'all watch it, enjoy life, man. Enjoy life. Love on your family, love on your friends. Treat people good. But this is Mark Haynes, and I'm signing out. And you already know what it is. You know what it is. It's the Bleav in Kings pod. Till next time, peace.